Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to take a virtual walk down an artery that cuts right through the heart of Manhattan, Broadway. We're going to uncover the stories that are literally etched into its oldest stones, starting right where the city itself began. So come on, let's start walking.
Like teeth in the mouth of a young wolf. That's how journalists back in the late 19th century described the very first skyscrapers that shot up from Lower Broadway. It's such a perfect image, isn't it? It just captures that raw, untamed, almost predatory ambition of a city clawing its way to the sky. And wow, did that ferocious energy set the stage for a story of relentless change.
So, where does an iconic street like this even begin? Well, our journey starts not with a blueprint or some grand urban plan, but with something, well, a lot more elemental. You see, Broadway's meandering path wasn't designed by architects. It was literally trampled into existence centuries ago by cattle being driven to market.
It's kind of symbolic, then, that a huge bull statue now stands near where Broadway began. But the connection isn't what you probably think. This statue has nothing to do with the street's bovine founders. Nope, it was actually a piece of guerrilla art dropped here by the sculptor Arturo di Modica after the 1987 stock market crash. It's a symbol of aggressive financial optimism. You know, the Wall Street bulls fighting off the market's bears.
Okay, let's head down to the southern tip to number 1 Broadway. For centuries, this spot was basically New York's grand entrance hall. Before air travel, your first impression of the city was formed right here as your ship sailed into this canyon of magnificent buildings.
And this row of buildings really tells that story. These aren't just offices, they are monuments to the ocean. I mean, look at the Washington building. It still has doors marked first class and cabin class. And next door, the Bowling Green building became the center of a global tragedy in 1912. It housed the White Star Line offices and was just mobbed by crowds desperate for any news about the Titanic. And then you've got John D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil Building, this neo-Renaissance fortress designed to be the city's triumphant face to the sea.
All right, let's continue north to where Broadway slams right into Wall Street. And here, you find this incredible contrast. You've got the frantic, buzzing energy of global finance right next to the quiet, peaceful eternity of one of the city's oldest graveyards.
This is Trinity Church. Get this, its very first steeple literally served as a lighthouse for ships sailing into the harbor. And this version of the building was the city's tallest for half a century. But the real treasure? It's the churchyard. Among these 17th century headstones, you'll find founding father Alexander Hamilton. And there's even a local legend about a comedian whose ghost is said to still laugh from his grave. Spooky.
Just up the street, you'll find Manhattan's oldest surviving public building, StPaul'sChapel, built way back in 1766. Its history is defined by what you could honestly call two miracles. First, it somehow survived the Great Fire of 1776 that wiped out a quarter of the city. And then, on September 11, 2001, it stood directly across from the World Trade Center and came through without a single broken window. It became this incredible sanctuary for the recovery workers.
We've now arrived at the foot of an absolute legend. This building is a true hymn to the American dream. This isn't just a skyscraper, it's a statement. A palace literally built from nickels and dimes. The magnificent Woolworth building.
So how on earth did Shyness build a cathedral? Well, the story starts with his fantastic paradox. The visionary behind it all, Frank Woolworth, was a man who, by all accounts, was painfully shy. He absolutely hated talking to customers.
And believe it or not, that shyness sparked a revolution. To avoid the sheer torture of haggling, one day he just put out a pile of extra goods with a simple sign, everything for 5 cents. That pile sold out almost immediately. And that one simple idea, fixed pricing, completely changed retail forever and built an empire that would, one day, build a cathedral. $13.5 million. That's what the Woolworth building cost back in 1913. An absolutely astronomical sum. But here's the kicker, the really crucial point. Frank Woolworth paid for the entire thing in cash. No loans, no investors, just pure profit from his 5 and dime stores.
The building was immediately nicknamed the Cathedral of Commerce because of its soaring Gothic design. And inside, the lobby is just the stunning palace of marble and gold mosaic. But if you look closely, hidden in the details are these wonderful, humorous touches. Little sculptures of Frank Woolworth himself counting his nickels, and another one of the architect, Cass Gilbert, proudly cradling a model of his masterpiece.
Okay, our tour of Lower Broadway is wrapping up as we move into the administrative heart of the city. And you can feel the architecture shift here. These buildings weren't just for making money. They were designed to project power, authority, and, civic pride.
So, right across from the Woolworth building stands City Hall. It's this elegant survivor from 1812. And it's really hard to imagine now, but when it was built, this whole area was considered the rugged, tavern-filled edge of town.
Now, look closely at the top of City Hall. You're going to spot a really curious detail. The statue of Lady Justice that crowns the building is missing her traditional blindfold. Now, whether this was some artistic statement on clear-eyed justice or just an oversight, who knows? But it's a unique detail that really sets it apart.
This whole area is just dominated by these colossal structures. You've got the Manhattan Municipal Building, which was so influential its design became a model for skyscrapers all over the world. The courthouse nearby looks like a Parisian palace dropped in the middle of New York. And of course, there's the entrance to the Brooklyn Bridge, which gives you the absolute perfect vantage point to look back at the stone canyon we've just walked through.
So, you see, a walk up just the first stretch of Broadway is so much more than a tour of buildings. It's a journey through ambition, through tragedy, and innovation. Every single facade tells a story about the soul of New York, which kind of begs the question, right? As the city keeps tearing down and rebuilding, is that soul being preserved in the new stone and glass, or is it being replaced entirely? Something to think about.
Like this episode, support us with a like and subscribe to the New York Insider. Every week, we bring a new NYC legend or hidden secret to life. Don't miss out.